every class I'm doing this week is all about portraits. And yesterday we did a very realistic portrait where we drew our faces by looking in the mirror, and we were talking about proportion. Well, today we're actually doing something that's very different. Today we're looking at an artist, and his name is Amedeo Modigliani, and we're going to be making a picture in his style. So these are two examples of some of the portraits that he did. And Modigliani, he was an Italian painter, and he lived, I think he was born in like 18 something. And I know he died in 1920. I have to go back to Wikipedia and look up, let's see, when was he born? He was born in 1884, and he died in 1920. And he was Italian, but he actually worked mostly in France. And he was known at that time, all the artists who were doing portraits, mostly were doing portraits that were very realistic, kind of like what we were doing yesterday. But Modigliani was really famous because he did portraits in a very unique style where they're just very stylized, almost cartoon. If you notice, looking at these, like he elongates, he's like stretches out his portraits so that they look very tall. Usually they have like these very unrealistic or exaggerated long necks. All of their faces are really long and stretched out. It's as if like they've been stretched. and almost all of his paintings are like that. I can show you some other examples. He painted almost all of his portraits like that. But despite them being really exaggerated and stylized, they did look like the person he was making a portrait of. And one of the things that he was influenced by is he saw in his time, he saw these African masks, and he was really influenced and inspired by a bunch of these African masks that he saw. And if you look at the African masks, you notice that their shapes are really elongated and stretched out. And even some of the shapes, like in his eye shapes are very, very similar. Let me pull a good example up. He does, his eye shapes are these like little almond shapes, which is really similar to the shapes in the masks. So he was really inspired by African art. And so today I thought we would try to make a portrait in Modigliani's style. And how we're going to do that is, yesterday we did a portrait of us. So today it's totally up to you. If you want to do a portrait of you, you're more than welcome to. If you want to do a portrait of somebody else, that's totally up to you. If you want to do an imaginary person, that's also completely up to you. I thought about it a little bit, and I decided I was going to do a picture of my dad. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my dad. So the three things you need are a pencil and your paper. And I'm going to get started. And one of the things I like to start with, I did this yesterday too, was I almost always start with like a U shape, which is going to be the shape of my dad's face. And I'm thinking about like how his face looks. My dad was actually already pretty tall and thin. So I'm going to really elongate that shape. Now, when you do your U, make sure that it's not super tiny. You want like a pretty decent, like the size of your hand or your fist at least. So you don't want like a super tiny little face. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw in my U. Then I'm going to maybe add in my dad's hair. So, and these are really stylized portraits. These are not, I'm not looking for any, like being exact. I'm not looking for realism. I'm just really trying to capture maybe like a little bit of what my dad, the essence of what my dad looked like. Now, I'm going to go ahead, and because this is a Modigliani portrait, I'm going to add in that really long neck. And my dad's neck, like you have to think about who you're doing. If you're doing a larger person, your neck may be longer. If you're doing a kid or somebody smaller, maybe your neck is like thinner. But I'm going to do some long curved lines coming down from the head. And then I'm also going to add in his shirt. So how I do that is I just do like a curved line at the bottom, and then a curved line coming over for one of his shoulders, another curved line coming over for his other shoulder. Then I'm gonna go back and I need to add in some of his features. Now, I know that we talked about proportion yesterday and we talked about how the eyes are halfway down the head. Well, we're throwing all of that out the window because that's what artists do. There are always rules, but artists don't necessarily follow rules. So today we're throwing everything we learned yesterday out the window, and I'm just gonna go ahead and somewhere on my face, I'm gonna add in those almond-shaped eyes. And I'm actually not gonna add in any pupils. I'm not gonna add in any irises. I'm just doing the eye shape because that's kind of how Modigliani did it. Then I'm gonna add in some ears on the sides of his head. And my dad wore glasses, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in some glasses. And tell me if I'm going too fast for you guys. I'm going at my own pace and it's hard to tell, so you have to let me know if I'm going too fast for you. But yesterday was all about details and being realistic. Today is really just about creating a stylized portrait. It does not have to look real. It can almost be like, almost cartoonish. For the nose, we didn't talk much about the noses, but in Modigliani's portrait, almost all of his noses were just these like L shapes. So I'm gonna go ahead and starting, maybe right here where the eye came down. I'm gonna draw a line, like an L coming down and then over. That's kind of like what his nose looked like. I'm drawing kind of hard so that you guys can see what I'm doing, but we're gonna be going over all of this with markers. So feel free to draw lighter than what I'm doing. Now, Modigliani's mouths, we didn't talk much about his mouths, but his mouths were also kind of inspired by African masks. And there's a couple of ways to do it, but most of his mouths, I'll show you before I draw it up, because I'm gonna do it kind of small, so I'll show you over here. It's just like a hill and another hill and a straight line and then like a bump on the bottom. They're kind of like that. So I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna do it kind of small, kind of just down here. Like
I got you.
And a hill, another straight line, and then down like that. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna add in details maybe to his shirt and some more details later, but before we do that, the other thing that Modigliani did do was he was also known for breaking up his backgrounds. If you notice in his pictures, he usually would paint like kind of in an abstract fashion. He would paint like different colors and he'd break up the backgrounds. So like in this one, this is like a door, there's some chair here, this is the wall. And this one, the boy is standing in front of, it looks like a wood barn. He's broken it up with different colors and lines. So because of that, I'm just gonna go ahead, take my pencil, and I'm gonna break up the background of mine so that it's not just one solid color. That'll give me a chance to use lots of the colors I have. So how I do that is I'm just gonna start at the top and I'm drawing a straight, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm drawing a straight line down, but where it hits my person, I'm just jumping. So actually my line, it hit my dad's portrait here and I can't go any farther. So I'm gonna do the same on the other side. Here, oop, jump, oop, kind of, it's right here. Like that. And now I'm gonna do a couple lines across just to break it up. So whenever I hit my portrait, I'm gonna do like a little jump. Just breaking it up in a different way. Actually, maybe the line could go here. I think I like that better. Okay. Okay. Now, before we start adding in some of the colors, I'm actually gonna take my paper and I'm gonna put it aside. And if you have an extra piece of paper and you would like to test out some of your colors first to see which colors bleed better than others, you're more than welcome to do that. I did that before class. Here, I'll show you This was my tester. I just wanted to see what colors of my markers would bleed better than others, and so I just took some of my color. I just did a little mark, and I took some water in my brush, and I got it wet. And if you could see the pigment kind of spreading out, it might be a little hard to see, but if you can see the pigment kind of spreading out, then that color worked for me. There were a few colors that the pigment didn't spread as much, like the yellows, at least in my marker set, didn't spread as much. So if you want to test out your markers before adding them to your portrait, you're more than welcome to. I did it beforehand, so it's totally up to you guys.
Liliana needs to go, but
oh, okay. Bye, Liliana. It was really good to see you. Heather Rose, are you staying? Okay. All right. Yeah, you are awesome. Okay, cool. All right. So for my background, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the colors that I know that I want to use, and I'm just going to start to add some color to the background. So how I'm going to do is I'm just going to like outline the boxes that I've drawn in, and I'm just kind of going around my figure where I see them, going up, going down. And I chose 3 colors. I think I'm going to do purple. Actually, I do purple, red, and green, because I know those 3 colors bleed really well. So because I know I have 3 colors that I'm using, I don't want to put like another green right next to it. I kind of want to space it out so that the colors will be like, I don't know, more random. So I'm just kind of adding in some color like around the boxes. So the reason I thought about doing this project was because I know that it's tricky when we're at home. You may or may not have access to paints. And this is kind of a fun way to see if your paints, or sorry, to see if, to paint without painting. So it's kind of a fun way to just try to get like a kind of a painterly effect without actually having watercolors or any other form of paints. So I'm just starting with one color. When I've done a couple boxes in one color, I'm gonna switch to a different one. And doing the same thing, I'm just kind of going around and outlining these boxes. So I know I have to put one here because I don't want my 3rd colors are red, so I don't want my reds next to each other. I'm kind of trying to think about, well, these 3 are going to be red now. Think about it.
Megan says she does this in her drawings sometimes, and it's really fun.
Yeah. So I like the effect it makes. Like when you add water, it can make just like kind of pretty, like almost watercolorish effects. That's cool, Megan. Okay. All right. Happy with that. Pretty happy. Okay. I know I'm probably going faster than you guys are, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine. If you need more time to catch up, it's not a big deal. I'm going to show you what the next step, but then I'll start going a little slower so you guys have time to catch up, and we might do a little share after this part to give you guys some time to catch up. So the next step after you've done all of your colors, you need your paintbrush and your water, and starting with just one color, like I'm going to start with the green. I'm just going to I'm getting some water on the green, and all I'm doing is taking that color from the outside. Can you see what I'm doing, Scott?
Yes. Yeah, now that you moved it down.
Okay. And I'm just pulling the color up and down and into the white space. So I don't need a ton of water, but it really just depends on your markers. And like I said, if you test your markers out and you see some colors work better than others, I'll show you. I did an example before class, just so you guys can see. And the yellow barely bled at all. So that's why I decided not to use that color. So sometimes it's a little trial and error. But I do suggest that you do all of one color first with your water. If it's not working, try adding a little bit more water, see how that goes. But you do want to do all of one color first and then move on to another color. Otherwise, your colors will mix, and depending on what colors you're using, sometimes when you mix colors, you get brown or a color you don't want. It depends on what colors. Like if I mixed my my green and my red, those two colors I happen to know mix to make brown. And that's actually okay if they do, because it can be a really kind of neat effect. But if you have a marker that is not working, try adding more water. And I mean, here's the thing, sometimes the colors just don't work. Like my yellow just didn't work. So you might have to try a different color. You could try letting it dry a little bit and adding a different color on top and seeing if that color would work. The reason why I told you to grab a paper towel is because once I've done all of one color, I kind of want to rinse my brush off, and I just want to I just dab it off, because you can probably see there's some green pigment is in this marker that's kind of coming out. So I just want to clean my brush off, and I use my paper towel to tell if it's clean. Then I'll move on to a different color. So I'm going to try purple. Ooh, kind of like this purple. So you're just bringing the color, the pigment in the watercolor down into your paper. And it is kind of cool. Like sometimes I can see right over here, I don't know if it's a little hard to see, but the green is kind of bleeding into the purple. It gives a very watercolory effect, which is just I think it's a cool effect. The other thing that this technique does is it creates, when it dries, it creates like this darker border around the edges, which is really tricky to do using real watercolors. I'm gonna blot this. Your paper towel is also good. You have too much water and you need to blot it dry. So I had a little too much water. I needed to blot my paper. But yeah, that effect is kind of hard to achieve with regular watercolors. How is everybody doing so far? Is it working for everyone?
I see some thumbs up.
Are there any questions, troubleshooting?
Don't see any questions yet.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, if you have any questions, let me know. If you want to share your work so far, let me know. Okay. So I finished all my purple. I'm going to rinse my brush off. And I know I said this before, but everybody be really careful with your water cup around your computer. If you want, sometimes I was teaching a lesson the other day, and I actually put because I was working on a canvas and we were doing a canvas painting, I put my paintbrush I put my water cup on the floor, because I knew it was dangerous. I figured, worst case scenario, if I spill my water on the floor, I just mop it up with a paper or with a sponge. But if I spill it on my table, then it'll get my computer wet, and that would be way worse. So be really careful when you're working with your water cup and your computer. Technology and water do not mix. All right. Ooh, this red really works. You can see how dark it gets. This red bleeds really nicely, the color. Okay. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna do the red. Like I said before, if your colors meld into one another, that's great. Like it can produce some really beautiful effects. Who knew you could paint with markers, right? Well, Megan knew. She said she's done it before. Good question, Heather Rose. How is everyone doing? We all okay?
Thumbs up from Megan.
Okay. All right. Let's see a couple other thumbs up. Okay. So the second tricky part about this is that the next step, I know you guys are probably still painting, but the next step, I'm just going to talk to you for a minute, is going to be, so don't worry, is going to be, you're going to choose a darker color. So I suggest either black or dark blue. I kind of like, yeah, I did blue last time, so I'll do black this time. So you're going to take a darker color, and being really careful, because some of my paper is still really wet, you're just going to start outlining and tracing over all of the lines that you did on your face. While your paper is drying too, if there's anything you want to add, like on the bottom, if you want to add like a design on the shirt, if you want to change like and make it a different type of shirt, you're more than welcome to do that. If there's any other details you wanted to add, now is a good time to do it. But yeah, I'm looking at my picture, and it's really cool because as it dries, bring it up closer. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see how can you see that, Scott?
Yes, yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, you can see how the colors really start to like meld and blend and kind of bleed into one another. So it makes it just a very cool effect.
There's a comment for you in the chat. Milo and Phoenix say, that is beautiful. We're joining in late, but we love this. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Welcome, Milo. Welcome, Phoenix. So what we were doing is we were doing a portrait in the style of Amedeo Modigliani. And he was an Italian painter. And I'll show you really quick what his work looked like. It looked like this. So it was a stylized picture and of a portrait where it was like a person, but they were stretched. They were like from that movie, The Incredibles. It was the mom from that movie where she's stretched. Yeah, so we're doing a portrait in his style. And instead of using watercolors, I was showing everybody how you can use markers that are water soluble. So AKA not permanent markers, to add water to them and make like cool, almost watercolor-like effects. Okay, so mine is dry enough that I'm gonna go ahead and start taking my black marker and just kind of tracing over, being really careful. My paper's still a little wet. To trace over some of these lines. Oop, you know what? This black marker doesn't work very well. I am gonna use the blue. Switch it up. Yeah, that works. This one works better. I'm gonna use the blue, and I'm just gonna start tracing and outlining some of my lines. I got a little, see, this is why it's probably best to wait till it's a little drier, but it's all right. It's okay. What is it that Bob Ross says? There's no mistakes, there's only happy accidents. Happy accidents. I got a little pink on or a little red on here. It's okay. Over his eyes, eyeglasses. Like that.
There was a question, is this the art class? And I answered it in chat that this is the Chuck Jones in Your Home's art class. This is the first one for the day. And then there's actually another one starting in an hour and a half. So depending on what time zone you're in, for California, that starts at 12 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. And each class is different. So you have to go onto the website at chuckjonescenter.org and check it out, because the whole schedule is listed there. And every teacher does something different. So we all kind of decide what we want to teach. I tend to do I change it up. I feel like I do something different every week. This week is portrait week. Last week was collage and paper arts week. The week before that was drawing from observation. And there's a couple other teachers. On Wednesday, there's a fun teacher. His name is Mike Funt, and he does he does clowning. So it's like a totally different type of art form. So if you have a silly side and you are interested in clowning, then take his class. I heard it's really, really fun.
It was a lot of fun. I was there this past week, and it was very fun.
Yeah. And then there's another teacher named Ben, and Ben is an amazing cartoonist, and Ben does a lot of cartooning classes. So if you're interested in that, you check out his classes. And then there's another teacher named Rhiannon, and she does these really cool, she's been doing she's kind of like me where she changes it up every week. I think you'll have to go and see what she's doing, but I think she has some cool like word art projects going on. All right. So I outlined my character, or my portrait, my dad. I'm actually going to take some water, and I'm going to decide like some areas to start to color in. So like I might make his hair. I know his hair wasn't really blue, but I'm going to make his hair. I'm going to give his hair some color. Maybe I do the other side. Like that. I could do his eyes. Maybe just like, his eyes, his lips. But I think I'm gonna leave his skin the way it is. Just for some contrast. And then actually before I do anything else, this is my last chance to decide like if I want to do some designs on my shirt, if I want to like add in some it doesn't have to be a plain shirt. Maybe I add some different colors in. I like that idea. So you know what? I'm going to use the same watercolor technique, and I'm going to give my dad a striped sweater, and I'll try some new colors. Maybe I want to try orange. What else? I'll do orange and like light blue or something. Yeah. And
Heather Rose is almost done.
Nice. Yeah, I will need to dry after this. You're right. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and add in, do a pattern. Oh, actually, maybe I'll do red. It'll be like the ugliest sweater. It'll be like the ugliest dad sweater. I'm giving my dad an 80s style, like striped red and orange sweater. Definitely. I feel like you probably had something like this in the 80s. Just to give some extra colors in here. And I'm not being too careful about my lines because I actually quite like the bleeding effect, and it doesn't matter to me if the colors kind of blend into one another. But I am gonna just do all of one color and then do the next color. That way my brush and the water in it the colors don't get too muddled. So you can use markers and use water and markers and do this effect on pretty much anything. Like if you have a picture and you're just like, it's a good effect, especially if you have large areas to color in, because it kind of functions like watercolors do, in that you can cover large areas of your paper. So it works really well in the backgrounds of things. You can't get too detailed with it because as you can probably see, it has a little bit of a mind of its own. The colors do when they blend and meld with each other. So as long as you know that like you can't get too precise with it, it's just a cool effect. Now I know some of you are done, and if you do want to share, I'd love to see. I know it'll be a little tricky, especially if your paper is extra drippy holding it up. But if you want to give it a go, let me know. Me and Scott know, because I'd love to see your work. All right, I think I'm done with that. This might be a quicker lesson, Scott, because
yeah,
it
looks cool.
Yeah, it's like a cool effect. It's a very cool effect. And the thing I really like about this is that as it dries, the effects get, I think, even cooler. So like you can really start to see where like the lines, and I think they're called like blooms. Like, I don't know if you can see, there's going to be one up in his hair up here with like
Oh yeah, yeah.
the blue and the purple.
Little
And like,
little squiggly outline.
yeah, it's, I think they're like in water. There's a name for that. I'd have to look it up, but like it's a watercolor effect. I think it's just called like a bloom because it's the water blooming. Like, I don't know, something like that.
Heather Rose mentioned that she's drawing a book character.
Ooh, that's cool. Yeah. So who did everybody choose to draw? Did everybody do themselves or somebody else? Wait, I see that. Is that Penelope or Nikita? I can't remember. Unmute yourself. Nikita. So what did you choose to draw? Or who?
Myself.
Yourself. You did another self-portrait. Awesome. All right. You're still working? Or are you ready to, you want to share?
I'm still working.
Okay. All right. We'll come back. We'll come back when you're done. Does anybody else want to tell us who they choose?
Megan said she drew herself.
No, nice, Megan. Oh, I see a question from Milo and Phoenix. What kind of paper do you recommend for this? Yeah, so I used watercolor paper. You just need a paper that will hold water. Yeah, it's so a cardstock, it does work. Watercolor paper is probably better than cardstock. Anything that's, I think, like 60 grams or more, I'd have to look up exactly, but yeah, cardstock or higher. What doesn't work too well is, I'll show you my brief example. This is my example I did before, my 5-second example before class started, just to make sure that everything was working okay. And you can see I just used printer paper, and it can be a little flimsy and it can wrinkle. But you know what? If it's all you have, it works, and you can just put a book over on top of it to flatten it. So, but obviously working with watercolor paper or cardstock is better. Good question. Good question, Noelle. Does anybody else want to say who it is that they are doing? Who their portrait is of?
Oh, I see a hand up here. Let's see.
Yeah. Oh wait, you gotta unmute yourself.
I'm doing myself.
Nice.
Good.
Awesome. Do you want to share, or are you still working?
Still working on it.
Okay. All right. I know. I went really fast on this one. So.
And I'm doing the shirt now.
Okay. Awesome. I'm glad you're adding some details. Did anybody? I heard 3 people who did themselves. Did anybody choose to do somebody else? Yeah. Who did you do?
I did myself.
You did yourself.
But I didn't do the watercolors yet. So.
Ooh, I like that though. That's really cool. You'll have to put them up side by side with the drawing you did of you yesterday. So like realistic and stylized. Nice, very nice. All right.
Let's see, Heather Rose said her character's name is Remy, and she's from the Map to Everywhere series.
Ooh, yeah. That's cool. You'll have to show us when you're done, Heather Rose. Love to see. All right. Oh, Heather Rose says, good job. Oh, you saw. Okay. I like that your mom is your mom working today too? Hi, Jade's mom. Who is your portrait of?
Myself.
Nice. Ooh, that's looking good. That's looking really good. Nice. I like.
Thank you so much. She has so much fun every day.
Oh, awesome. We're glad. I love seeing her face every day. I love when kids come back every week. It fills a hole that's missing since we can't teach in the classroom anymore. So I love seeing you guys. Awesome. And I like that your mom's here too. All right. Someone else? I see a couple of people. Oh, Vienna. So Vienna and Victoria. Hi, how are you guys doing? Are you guys doing okay?
Yes, we are.
Ooh, oh wow, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that, the vest and the suit. I love that. The colors, and you got some really, really nice patterns going on there. That's beautiful. Oh wow. That's awesome. I love that you were working from a photo. That looks great. So
That's
cool.
what we have on the console just right nearby. That's nice.
Well, that came out really, really nice. Really nice.
Oh, yeah, this is fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad you guys are enjoying yourselves. Girls, what did you do? Who did you do? Oh, that's so cool. Oh, yeah.
I know, it's dripping.
I know. Here, you can put it down. It's okay. It's okay. Don't sacrifice it. It's okay. Nice job. Is your name right? Is your name Victoria? Okay, that's okay. All right. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
That's still nice.
Okay, your shirt. Blending shirt.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
It's bleeding.
We're all still kind of working. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, so tomorrow, I know you guys are still working. You guys can keep working, but tomorrow I'll show you, well, I'll tell you, let me go back. Let me go look at my supply list for, actually, I'm sorry. It's not tomorrow. So tomorrow is Mike Funt. There's a class at 10, but it is the what would you call him, Scott? Would you call him a clown? Like, does he call himself a clown?
He calls himself a clown, but he's not the traditional clown with all the makeup and the big red nose and the wig. More of just, I guess, like physical comedy.
Ooh, okay.
A lot of movement. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's so cool. Very different from this kind of class. So let's see. Tomorrow is his class. Let's take a look and see what he's teaching. Yeah.
I went to the class last week and we made masks.
Oh, so cool. That's awesome. Did he show you how to like become a different character?
He was telling us about all the different characters of comedy.
That's so neat. So neat. I like that beaked mask too. Well, I'm looking at his schedule for tomorrow. So tomorrow at 10 a.m., same time as this class, it's going to be music and rhythm and performance, and music's relationship to comedy. So like Looney Tunes characters. Yeah, all Looney Tunes characters, there's always that classic music behind it. So you're going to get to make up your own comic routines and learn how and learn different rhythm instruments. That's really cool. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be like a lot of fun, some different movements. You're going to be able to make up your own comic routine and add some music to it. That looks really cool. Super, super cool. And then on Thursday, I will be back. So I'm back on Thursday and Friday. And like I said, this is portrait week. So every day this week, we're doing a different style of portrait. We started with traditional self-portraits, drawing ourselves, looking at proportion, learning how things in our face kind of fit together. And there's actually like math behind it, a little bit of math, a little bit of proportion. Today was Modigliani. And then on Thursday, we're looking at a pop artist. His name is Romero Brito, and his work is really, really cool. And we're going to be doing a portrait in his style. So for Thursday, if you join, all you need are pencil. You can use regular paper. It doesn't have to be watercolor paper, any kind of paper. You will need a black marker or a Sharpie and anything to color with. And now the colors are totally up to you. You can use color pencils. You could use crayons. You could use oil pastels. Totally up to you. If you have paint and you want to go for it, you could use paint. I didn't add that to my list, but hey, go for it. Any material you want to use to color it in. That's Thursday. And then on Friday, our final portrait is going to be a crazy Pablo Picasso inspired portrait. And he was known for a type of art called cubism, where he kind of breaks apart everything that he makes into its simplest, most blocky, like simple shapes, like three-dimensional shapes. And so we're actually going to be doing a collage. So you need a variety of different colored papers. So that could be construction paper. It could be origami paper. It could be matte paper torn from magazines. It could be wrapping paper. It could be any kind of paper you have. You'll need scissors, glue, maybe a pencil, and then optional is some markers. We may or may not use the markers, but we're gonna make it kind of wild and crazy, like crazy collage. All right, so that is this week.
Lee, there was a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you draw the boxes after the portrait?
Yes, so I drew the portrait in with my pencil, and then I did the background after that. So I did it second, and I just drew it in. Yeah, I just drew in like some vertical and some horizontal lines. So here, let me go back and I can show you the order. 1 second. There we go. So I started with the portrait, then I did the lines, and every time when I drew a line, I would just when I hit my character, I would jump and I would continue the line. So yeah, that's the order. And then we painted we painted with markers the background, and then when that had dried a little bit, then I went over the face with my blue marker. So that was kind of the order in which I did my portrait. But ooh, as it's drying, these color blooms are looking really cool. I love that effect. All right, are there any other questions, or does anybody have anything, any work that they want to share?
Oh, here's one.
Ooh, let's see. Oh wow, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. You're going. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying. What did you use for the skin tone? I'm curious.
Oh, I just used. These are pastel pencils. I don't have any markers. And then I just used, I would a combination of different colors and smudged them and wet them and whatever else. So it's a little Cezanne-esque. It's a little me, and it's a little representational. So
okay, I love it.
Combo.
That's really nice.
Combo.
I love watercolor pencils, or like I think those are just.
These are pastel.
Oh, sorry, pastel pencils. Yeah. Pastel pencils.
But
yeah,
I don't have the watercolor ones.
Oh,
so.
no worries. But I think that looks really, really nice. So can you show me one more time the background? What are you doing? I like the design you have going on, how you've broken it up.
Yeah, just nothing that, just was filling in some different colors, following your lead, and then realized that if I was actually doing it, I would be putting in more abstract colors and more variations in styles, more like almost like a palette knife.
Yeah. Oh, that would be really, really nice. Is that painting behind you one of yours? I'm curious.
This is not mine. This is the son of a man that I painted with in Delaware for about 10 years, and it was a very I used the word Cezanne-esque style, very bold, lots of dark outlines, and almost taking.
It's like very impressionist. You can see a lot of light. You can see a lot of like the. Like,
this is a great picture, and
nice.
It with all the different colors in our house, and so but that's my style. It's very similar. I have others in the house that are like that.
Do you mostly paint, or what mediums do you work in?
I just do oils. I've done some pastels, and I've been doing oil portraits now for a couple of years. And,
nice. That is a frightening medium to some of us artists. I feel like I do everything except for oil.
Well, actually, it's remarkably forgiving as opposed to watercolors, which includes that thinking backwards where you don't. That's very true. For me, this works well, and I'm just so used to it.
I think I'm always just scared of the cleaning.
Oh, yes, and the smell.
Yeah.
We do have water-based oils now.
Yeah, I've seen those. Actually, I think we have some here in the studio.
Yeah, you don't get quite the same tones, and if you're used to a particular outcome when you blend oils, you won't get that. So you just, it's a learning process. It's just different, that's all.
Well, lovely work. I'm glad you joined us. Thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm a huge Chuck Jones fan too.
Awesome,
So.
awesome. That's great. Yeah, he is pretty iconic.
Oh, and Daffy's my favorite.
Daffy's your favorite? Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Marvin the Martian. Marvin the Martian's my favorite.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh, you're done, Heather Rose. Is there anybody else who'd like to share? I know today was like a pretty quick demo, so I know that some of you may or may not still be working, but we have a few minutes left. Heather Rose, you want to share?
People that want to share.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Nikita, are you done? Penelope, you want to share?
I'm not done, but I would like to share.
Absolutely. I would love to see.
Sure.
Wow. I love how you broke up the background with those organic wavy lines. That's beautiful. Really beautiful. Your colors worked really well too. Those markers, man. You picked good colors.
They're water.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I forgot you were using the watercolor pencils. Those the colors look great. Really nice job. Really beautiful.
My mom is doing this.
Oh wow. I love the pink. I love that she chose the pink for her portrait. I think that's a really good choice. I like the pink hair.
It's actually like this color, but it turned out pink.
But yeah, it kind of came out pinkish. Interesting. Well, I think the effect came out really nice. Very nice job, guys. Oh, Penelope, did you want to share yours, or are you still working?
No, thanks. Maybe later.
All right, no worries. All right, I saw Heather Rose's hand. Heather Rose, did you want to share? Ooh, whoa, that's crazy! I love it. I like the way you did the shirt. It looks really abstract. Tell me about that. How did you do the colors in the background?
Well, I sort of just did little strokes.
Were you using markers?
I was using paint because.
Oh, cool. Very cool. I like it. I like how the effect came, because you got some really cool different marks with your brush there. It looks really abstract, and your colors are nice too.
I sort of thought the brush didn't really pick up the paint, so it just started getting it kind of like that. You
know what though? I like the effect. It's like it's more translucent. It's not opaque. Opaque is when it would be really thick and not see-through, but yours is the color looks very watercolory, which is I think it's a cool effect. Very cool. Nice work. Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. Is there anybody else who would like to share?
Milo and Phoenix.
Milo Phoenix. Love to see. Hi. Hey guys, let's see. Oh, wow. Oh, it's kind of dim. I can kind of see it. There. Oh, there we go.
Mom sketched Milo.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Since we joined late, we're going to finish it after.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, so that looks awesome. So yeah, so we did the face, then we blocked in the background, and then I don't know if you saw how we used the markers kind of like paint. But that was
yeah, we watched with the paintbrush to make it like watercolor.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Nice job. I love it, guys. Really beautiful work.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Last call. Last call for sharing? No? All right. Okay. I think we're done, but oh my gosh, you guys did such a good job. I'm really proud of all of you. You guys all worked with, like, as true artists do, you all worked with the materials that you had on hand, and oh wait, somebody else's. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That looks amazing. That looks amazing. All those colors. Oh, what's your name?
Victoria.
Victoria, that's incredible. I love it.
Hi.
You worked so hard. How many? You use so many colors. That looks. Is it you? Did you do a portrait of you? Yeah. I like this the swirly spiral lines on your dress. Good choice.
She loves curly cues.
Wow, thank you.
Really beautiful work. Really, I love it. I love it. Good work. A whole family there. A whole family of artists right here.
Almost.
Thank you for sharing, guys. Yeah, so you guys all did an awesome job working with the materials that you had on hand. Oh, wait, some more. Oh, more sharing. Yeah, do you want to share? Let's see.
Not yet.
Oh, you're not done yet? That's okay. Wow. Ooh, that looks awesome. Wait, what materials were you using?
Paint, markers, and the pens and pencils.
Nice. I like the hello on the shirt. That came out really cool. Are you gonna do the hair? You're still gonna work on the hair?
Yeah, I'm gonna work on the hair and the neck.
Nice. I love it. What a great work in progress. Oh my gosh. Really nice job. Really, really good work. Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Right,
Well, one thing I forgot to mention is if you want at the bottom, you can go ahead and sign your name. If it's dry enough, don't forget to sign your name. All artists sign their work. So don't forget that as a last step. Okay, awesome guys. You guys all did an amazing job. I'm so glad that you all joined. Hopefully I'll see you guys on Thursday, and if you join on Wednesday, Scott, let me know how it is. Maybe I'll join in. I'm curious.
Okay, you can join in if you can. It's the first one was really fun.
All right, guys. Good work today.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Thanks for coming.